Um, so yeah, my name is Jackie Caplan-Auerbach. I use she, her pronouns. I am the Associate Dean of the College of Science and Engineering. And the transfer advising thing is something that there are many people in the college who have more expertise than I, who are specifically transfer advisors, and they're kind of in each department. This is the first time I've done this particular workshop. I have worked a bunch. I should say I'm also faculty in the geology department. And in that context, I've done some work working with actually many of your schools, for I can see that where some of you are from. So I know a little more about that in a specific thing for my college, but I have a lot of info from the transfer advisors and other departments, and I can kind of point you toward places to go if you have questions. We were told that like something that would be really useful would be to kind of give an overview of the college and the departments that we've got. I think that y'all were maybe handed this transfer advisors worksheet that talked about the college. So if I'm being too redundant, someone just throw a hand up and say, hey, we know this stuff. Because again, first time I've done this and I don't know what information you come with. But let me just start. I'm going to go ahead and just actually it's probably going to come up on the wrong screen. So let's see if this, yeah, it always does that. All right, does this show the PowerPoint? I don't know if anyone can chime in. Okay, great, I see that. Okay, so again, my name's Jackie, please call me that, nothing else. The last name is unpronounceable, really. So what I was told again is that it really helps for people to see different kind of what the programs we have, to talk a little bit about how people might, select a major, declare a major, apply for that, etc. I can give you a little bit of info about some of the majors that are more or less challenging to get into or to complete after a transfer. I can talk about some of the things that really just, I think, makes our college great. So let me just dive kind of right in. And again, if you have questions in the middle, please go ahead and, you could throw them in the chat. I am completely fine with people hollering them out, but I'll let you guys make that call. So I'm going to kind of skim over the departments that we've got, and I've listed some of the degree programs. This is not all of the degree programs. In part, there are things that are combined between different departments or combined between ours and another college. I've tried to throw in some photos of our students, so it was not just text that you have to look at. But the College of Science and Engineering is made up of 7 academic departments and 2 of what we call programs. And those programs are interdisciplinary. And so they may have students who take classes from multiple departments. They have faculty who have engagement with different departments, etc. And I'm actually going to go over these in alphabetical order. And the first one is one of those programs. We have something called AMSEC, which what is it? The Advanced Materials Science, and I'm embarrassed that I can't remember an engineering something. But this is our material science program. And so in AMSEC, we have faculty who are in chemistry, faculty who are in geology, who are in engineering, who have expertise in physics as well, who have expertise in the materials themselves, their behaviors, their engineering sort of parameters, characteristics, etc. And there's a variety of classes that focus in on those. We do not have a major in material science, but there is a minor. And so for many students who are doing, say, a major in physics where they're looking at, the qualities of physical qualities of certain materials and the behaviors of atoms and whatnot, they may also be really more interested in looking at these material science things. They may use these in engineering, etc. Our biology department is one of our largest departments in terms of both sort of students and faculty. We have kind of a standard BS and BA degree in biology, but there's lots of sort of sub-disciplines one can study. So you could do biology with a concentration in cell and molecular biology, or in evolutionary biology, or you could do a biochemistry major, or there's a biology and anthropology combined major. I'll talk a little bit later about another combined program we have in marine and coastal science. Many of our departments also provide the opportunity for students to do education degrees. So for people who are interested in becoming teachers at either the elementary school level, the middle school, the K-12 level, and broadly, whatever that might be, we have majors in that too, a Bachelor of Arts in Education. So there's going to be way more detail on those web pages. And again, if you all got that transfer advising worksheet, I can put it up on the screen later if that's helpful. But there are many, many degrees within each of these. So chemistry, similarly, BSBA, many combined programs as well. Biochemistry actually sits in the chemistry department, although obviously it has interactions with biology. Computer science, again, one of our largest programs and one that probably, I would say biology and computer science are growing fastest, which is probably no surprise to you all. I suspect you hear from a subset of your students about their enthusiasm for these. Computer science has three sort of major Bachelor of Science programs. The regular computer science program, we have one in cybersecurity. We also have some students who do that through our Poulsbo sort of affiliate campus. There's also a cybersecurity program here on campus. There is a relatively new data science major that we're super excited about that is sort of taking these in another direction. We're also hoping to collaborate with people on the peninsula about that. There are a variety of minors. One can do a cybersecurity minor, for example. There's, again, a lot of different options. And then computer science has a bunch of certificates. So for people who are really interested in, web design or, again, cybersecurity, content development, those are a few of the examples where these are sort of not a full minor, but provide a few classes that really give students expertise in a subdivision of the field that could be very useful for them when they are job hunting later. Engineering and design is our sort of most complicated department in that it has sort of several sub-departments. So for example, electrical and computer engineering, which is also one of our newest majors, that is maybe unsurprisingly has a lot of collaboration with computer science. We are just in the process of building a brand new building that will house our electrical and computer engineering program. So super excited about that. That will probably come online maybe a year from now. There's an industrial design program that is actually collaborative with our art department. So this is really the kind of thing where people develop something I didn't even know existed until I came here, that there are people who look at, how do you build a better and more beautiful structure to do this, as a top of a bottle, as a device you might have in your kitchen, but they have collaborations with people, for example, people in town. There's a store in town that does like home design, and some of these things are here. I want to backtrack. I just saw a question in the chat about whether the different computer science majors have the same prereqs. And the answer is not entirely, and we'll have to kind of look up the gory details of that. But many of them will have a few classes that all of them take, and I'll show you in a second some of the suggestions that computer science has around which courses are really helpful to take preparing to transfer. So I'm going to come back to that, and if I don't answer that, please bring that up at the end. Again, manufacturing engineering, polymer materials engineering, so many different types of engineering that one can do here. And again, similarly, these will also, with that respect to that question, have really different prereqs because they're quite different. They'll have some that are shared and some that are different. Engineering and design, people typically declare that major or are accepted into the major kind of at the end of their sophomore years. So it's an interesting question about which of these classes are available to transfer students. So we can kind of come back to that. Let's move on our other few departments. So in the geology department, we have regular geology, bachelor's, both of arts and sciences, depending on the direction that you hope to go with it. We try to advise people on what their future might be if they choose one or the other. We have a shared major with a physics department. This is our geophysics major, so half the classes are in physics, half the classes are in geology, and then they have options for electives there. That includes a lot of our planetary science, where they can take that they can work with our faculty member who drives the Perseverance rover every few weeks, like literally she drives that rover. So that's a good way to go there. As with other departments, there's earth science education for people who are interested in becoming teachers. Math, applied math, standard math, statistics. There are also people can concentrate in sort of a more mathematical perspective of chemistry, physics. Math education is one of our things. There's collaborations with the business College of Business and Economics for the economics degree. So if there are students who are really interested in doing this more quantitative approach, then that might be something that they're interested in, but they still want to do a social science or a business major. Physics and astronomy, the major is in physics, but we also have a minor in astronomy. So we have no astronomy major, but many students wind up kind of doing some of each if they have a passion for cosmology, for space science, etc. Our other program, our collaborative program that interacts with all of them, is something called Science, Math, and Technology Education. That is SMATE. And they collaborate not just with the sciences, but also with the College of Education, Woodring College of Education. And so this is where teachers will people will learn how to be excellent teachers. So not just that they know their content. So if you want to go be a physics teacher, you're going to learn not just the basic physics that you need, but how to work with students. You're going to work, how to plan lessons. Like these are sort of more focused on that career path for students who are interested in that. And also we work with with teachers in the school system, et cetera. We do a lot of training of teachers. Two more interdisciplinary programs that I've mentioned. There are probably others, but these are ones that stand out that our students are often engaged with. These are things that are not housed within a college. So I don't even know if you would have had the opportunity to hear about them, since we do a lot of this stuff by college. The first one is our very new, we've had it for I think 3 years, Marine and Coastal Science program. This is a collaboration between geology, biology, environmental science, and chemistry. We have the resources of the Shannon Point Marine Center down in Anacortes. So students have the chance to go out on our boats. They have a chance to do a ton of really hands-on lab work. It's a very cohort-oriented degree. So to be honest, at this point, I'm not sure if it's possible to transfer in, but I think that is, because it's a newer program, it's just starting into this mode. But for students interested in marine science, we can look into that, and I can try to answer that question. There is also an Institute for Energy Studies, which does both energy policy, energy science, energy economics. So for students who are interested in that, there's a minor that they can do that focuses on those things. So there's lots and lots of different questions or directions people can go. And of course, they're probably all going to have different transfer things. So let me talk a little bit about sort of some of the things that you might look at. So first of all the departments have advisors. Everybody has somebody who is expert in the transfer requirements or the transfer process. So I should just jump right to the bottom bullet here. There's a ton of information that's specific for transfers that is either on department web pages or in our catalog copy. So I grabbed a couple here just as examples. So for on the computer science webpage, advice to transfer students, and that we welcome transfer students. And then here are some good things to take if you're going to transfer in. So for anything, and this kind of speaks to the question that we had in the chat, all of these things are going to be required of the computer science major. Now we can look up, and I'm going to do that as soon as I'm kind of done going through the thing to see if both data science and cybersecurity require all of these. But for example, in the regular computer science major, students also take a year of some other science. So they have to take a lab science sequence. So they might take physics. They might be really excited about biology. They've got a lot of options if they take a geology one. And that may be somebody, for example, as a geologist myself, there are tons of jobs that I see coming through my subdiscipline, which is seismology, where they say, we need someone who will code up all the software that we need to bring in seismic data here in the Pacific Northwest and alert people when an earthquake has happened and the shaking hasn't hit them yet. So for that, we need programmers. And so there are options for people to take their computer science, and that's why they take those classes. So those are potentially things that students might start taking before they come in that would help them in their transfer quest. Most of our programs, most of our majors, I should say, require an application. So you would apply to the program. Not every one of them, but most. So for example, if you are interested in biology, after you take a few intro classes, you can declare as a pre-major just by enrolling in some of those intro classes. But to apply to be a major, you need to actually undergo an application process. And that process is really designed to be as inclusive as we can make it be, which means it is not simply a question of your GPA, because we know that students have a really, really different path. Everybody's got a different path to the major. People who transfer in come in with very different skill sets and experiences. People who come straight out of high school may have radically different backgrounds and experiences depending on whether they're first gen, whether they come from, a prep high school, et cetera. So we try to make those applications considerably broader, looking for, we'll have people write an essay about their interest in things. There will be specific prompts they might answer. We'll look for things like engagement with the departments. What things are you interested in doing when you're here? How can we make sure that we have a really, just really collaborative experience in the department? So every one of them is different, again, all on their web pages. And in the catalog, everything in the catalog will have something about the declaration process. But I cannot stress enough for all the students transferring in the value of the advising in the departments. Those are really, really super useful. I just want to highlight, in case you're wondering, what do you tell your students about Western? What I think some of the very best things are in the College of Science and Engineering. When people ask me why I came to Western to teach, I would say these are also the things that make it a great place for students. I love working here because Western cares so genuinely and so deeply about both teaching and research. And as a faculty member, my research is important to me. I love what I study. I want to know more about the planet. I want to keep doing that, but not at the expense of my teaching. I want to pass that information on to my students, both in my classes and through hands-on research experiences. And I would say that that's very much the mission of the university and the mission of the college. And we see that in the experiences that our students get. So some of that is in the classroom. So we do a huge amount of professional development for our faculty so they can learn the very best ways to do hands-on learning, to do student-centered learning. We've had some major grants over the last few years that are all focused on faculty training in inclusive and student-centered learning. So much less what we used to call, sage on a stage, where the faculty member stands there and dumps data at you, and much more having the students interact together. In fact, we're designing all of our every time we've built a new building or redesigned classrooms, we've changed it so we don't have those amphitheater-like things in the newer buildings. We have collaborative spaces. Student research opportunities is absolutely my very, very favorite aspect of working in this college. As Associate Dean, I have the great treat of being in charge of our summer research fellows. We have a pretty decent number now of paid summer research opportunities for our students who might want to try out research before they decide whether to go to grad school, or before they decide if they're interested in working for a local company that does genetics work, or maybe they are interested in doing a senior thesis and they want to start that off in the summer before they tackle their senior year. We try to do as many paid research opportunities as we can, because again, we think that this is really a question of equity. We want to make sure that if the students work over the summer, that they have that opportunity instead of working their summer job to help pay for their collegiate experience or pay their rent. So we're trying a huge priority in the college right now when we reach out to our donors and people who are interested in supporting us financially, is to say, this is our priority. Help us give students these experiences. The photo that I have here, the young woman over on the right side, was a student who I took on a research cruise in, which one was that? That was in 2018. We went to Kilauea volcano and we dropped instruments off the coast of the volcano to record earthquakes happening offshore. And I got to take students with me on that. There are internships that students can also get. Those might be different in different departments. Computer science does really a great job kind of directing its students towards some of these internship opportunities. I know they're actually considering having a requirement of that and supporting students to find those. There are many programs in computer science that have that the students all do a senior project of some kind. Engineering has something really, really similar. A senior project that may be connected with a local agency, with a local company, with a local engineering firm, where they get students to do these hands-on work. Broadly, this is a Western slogan, but we use it all the time, this emphasis on what I call inclusive excellence. How can we be as good as we can to the broadest number of students that we can? And I will say, when we talk about inclusion, transfer students are a really critical part of that. They are often, there's many different reasons that people transfer. Some have, figuring out their path early and aren't going to dive into a four-year school until they've kind of tried out the waters of higher ed. Some come because it's a better way to get some of these early classes done. Some come because they're returning students and they've had a life already. And when they come back, they come from this different path. So working with you all is a really critical part of that part of our mission. And I'll just say that I think one of the highlights is that our students go on to do great things. We have a really high number of students who go on to do graduate work. We have a huge number of students who go on and work in local firms and work in really all over the world. So we're really proud of what they do. And I think that is all I've got here. So let me quickly come back to, I'm going to pull up a couple, that's not the one I'm looking for. I'm going to pull up a couple of things that I have. I'm going to slide this onto this screen if I can. I don't know if this is the version you all were handed out, that is this template that, or this was the thing that was handed out to all the colleges. So lots of information about all the majors we've got. I neglected to mention computer science, and all of the engineering ones, with the exception of industrial design, are all ABET accredited, which means students that's really the most important thing for students going into engineering or computer science. Okay, I've taken a ton of time. What can I answer for you? I'm happy to take questions in the chat. And I will also try to pull up some of those questions about the prereqs. But I'm also really happy to take questions by, unmuting thyself, unmute thyself and let me know what you want to know. Real quick, looking at the data science, here, I'm going to slide this over onto the screen as well, because that was the one question I had, whether the computer science major has same prereqs. So many of them are going to look like this. This one is data science. There's a core of the classes. A lot of what you're seeing in this core, computer programming, computer science 141, data structures 241, those are going to be common to all of the computer science majors, and you can see in data science, and they do some focus things. Again, there's a senior project. Every one of them will do that. Here is that that math going to be common to all the computer science majors. Here is that in those sequence of another science, that's going to be the same for all of them. So maybe that tackles that question. Anything else that I can talk about? Anything that isn't about the college that you want to hear about? I'll talk about anything y'all want. While I'm waiting to see if anyone speaks up, I'll just show you here. If you go to the webpage for the College of Science and Engineering, and these are where all of our departments are, I'll just show, for example, we click on engineering and design as an example, and up to things like resources, there's a whole page here on info for transfer students. It's really important for engineering and design because it is, one to which students apply in a variety of fields. But this is where they have the transfer process, information about the transfer equivalency guide, etc. Major ready pathways. So lots of things that you might want to point your students to if they're really excited about all the engineering. And again, not everybody has one that's quite as thorough as engineering, so they do a really good job, but good places to know to look for stuff. So breakout rooms are closing. I'll see you all back in the home front.